want to. For this quick check, the major information that you needed to obtain from the reading was that the sun's energy reaches Earth through the form of radiation. Radiation is a type of heat transfer where the heat travels in waves. So we receive the sun's heat and light through waves. And remember, on Earth, we have an atmosphere. So that's something that's unique about Earth, which is one of the reasons that Earth supports life. In our atmosphere, it's kind of like a little bubble around our Earth, and it's filled with different gases that are used for organisms to survive. In addition, though, those gases can help trap heat. So once the sun's energy hits Earth's atmosphere, a few things can happen. The majority of the light hits the Earth's surface, and that surface absorbs the heat. Some of it will reflect off of the surface and go back into the atmosphere, and then some of it is scattered around by clouds. When that heat reflects back into our atmosphere, the gases in our atmosphere can trap the heat, and that can actually cause a rise in temperature. Okay, so one, you need to know that the heat travels to Earth from the sun through radiation. Two, you need to know that that heat is then absorbed by the Earth's surface. And three, it can also be reflected back into the atmosphere where it can cause an increase in temperature. This is another image to represent that same idea. We see the sunlight coming through the atmosphere first. See this white line here is representing Earth's atmosphere. It then hits Earth's surface, and then it can be reflected or absorbed. You definitely need to know those vocabulary terms. Absorbed means that it takes it in, and reflected means it bounces back off. In some cases, this can actually be a bad situation. If we have too much carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, that carbon dioxide traps the heat significantly and can actually cause a rise in the overall temperature in Earth's atmosphere. Things that create carbon dioxide are like big industries. If you've ever driven through Atlanta or a big city and you've seen like those big smokestacks with smoke coming out of them, that's releasing carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. Also, cars that use gas release carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. So humans have actually changed the composition of our atmosphere because the things that we have built and used release more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than Earth naturally has. Because of that, we see a rise in temperature, and this is called the greenhouse effect. If you've ever seen a greenhouse, they're usually used to grow plants. So if you've been to like Home Depot or a local like plant nursery, greenhouses are big rooms that are made up of either glass or plastic. And the idea is that they let the sunlight in so the plants can grow, and then they keep them in contained so that it's warm. So the same thing is kind of happening in our atmosphere when the heat is trapped by the carbon dioxide gas. And that brings us to your quick check. So if you will go ahead and navigate there, I will give you a minute to get there. It's on your planner for today. If you've already done it, great job. If not, go ahead and pull that up so we can get it done together now. Okay, question number one, and you have your emojis as your answers. Which best describes the heat that arrives at Earth from the sun? Does it arrive in the form of radiation? That would be clap hands. Does it arrive in the form of conduction? That would be laughing face. Does it arrive in the form of magnetism? That would be a thumbs up. or does it arrive in the form of convection? That would be a heart. So go ahead and select your reaction. Wase, Alexa, Mason, Nia, Akin, Thad, Noah, let's see, Ariana, Georgia, Amina, Madeline. You guys are all giving me the clap hands. Ryder, Isaiah, that is correct. The heat from the sun arrives to Earth through radiation. So in my answer options, it's the first. Remember that your answer options are probably different in a different order. So just be careful that you select the correct one. Also, I just wanted to point out in these other answer options, conduction is a type of heat transfer when two things are touching. So like a pot on a stove would be conduction. And then we have talked a lot about convection lately because of the convection currents in the mantle. So that is also a type of heat transfer when the warm air or liquid rises and the cool air or liquid sinks. So those are all our three types of heat transfer: radiation, conduction, and convection. But the sun's heat specifically arrives to Earth through radiation. Question number 2. What would happen if Earth absorbed all of the heat from the sun? Clap hands for Earth would lose all of its own heat. Laughing face for Earth would become too hot. Thumbs up for Earth would eventually stop receiving heat, or a heart for Earth would become too cold. Good job, Lucas, Kayla, Chloe, Shaya, Georgia, Gavin, Nathan, Ariana. You guys are getting all these correct. Isaiah, Ryder, Amani, Piper. Look at all this interaction. Great, great job. You should be having a laughing face. The correct answer here is a laughing face, which is Earth would become too hot. Great job. Question number 3. Earth absorbs about 71% of the heat energy from the sun. What also happens to this heat energy? Clap hands for it is converted to light. Laughing face for it is refracted back to the sun. A thumbs up for it is converted to electricity, or a heart for it is reflected back to the sun. Be careful here because some of these words sound alike. So go ahead and choose your answer. You can put up your emoji. You got clapping hands, laughing face, thumbs up, or a heart. The majority of people have spoken, and you have selected. I'm seeing all the love. That is correct. The heart is the correct answer here. The remaining heat is then reflected back to the sun. Now, we did discuss how once it's reflected, our atmosphere traps it. But the idea is that it would reflect all the way back out to space if our atmosphere didn't trap it. The other vocabulary word here I wanted to point out is refracted. That sounds a lot like reflected, but it's different. Refracted is kind of like when a light wave travels through glass or a mirror. Through glass, the wave can travel through and then it kind of bends. So if you've been in like a swimming pool or you have like a pencil and a cup of water, it looks like the pencil is broken because the light is refracting. So we have not studied that. That's not part of our standards, but they throw it in there because it sounds a lot like reflected. So just be careful when you're reading through your options. Next question, use a scenario to answer the question. A light yellow block and a dark blue box are next to each other in full sunlight on a summer day. Which statement accurately explains what happens to the boxes? Clap hands, the light yellow block and the dark blue box reflect the same amount of heat. Laughing face, the light yellow block reflects more heat than the dark blue box. Thumbs up, the light yellow block absorbs more heat than the dark blue box. or a heart for the light yellow block and the dark blue box absorb the same amount of heat. So learning about colors, darker colors absorb heat more than lighter colors. So if we're comparing a light yellow to a dark blue, our dark blue should absorb more heat. So which would our best answer option be? Go ahead and choose your emoji. Good job, Risha and Thad and Margaret and Alexa. Trying to make sure I haven't. Good job, Rachel. Good job. Let's see, I was trying to make sure I hadn't missed anybody and try to give you guys all a shout out when I see your names. This one should be the laughing face. The light yellow block reflects more heat than the dark blue box. And the reason is that that dark blue box is going to absorb more. So this one is the laughing face. And our last question, when heat energy enters the atmosphere, it is absorbed by water vapor and carbon dioxide. How does this affect the planet? So this question is talking to you about the greenhouse effect. So once that light or heat hits Earth's surface, and then a lot of it's reflected back into the atmosphere, the carbon dioxide and water vapor trap that heat into our atmosphere. And the question's asking you, what's a result of that? So is it clapping hands for rain starts to form, a laughing face for clouds start to form, a thumbs up for the planet warms up, or a heart for the planet cools down? Good job, Grace and Mia and Taylin and Thad and Ryder and Shaya and Kayla and Madeline and Caleb, Georgia, Ariana. I'm getting Addison. I'm getting a lot of thumbs up. Very good job. So the thumbs up would be your correct answer here. The planet warms up.